Hi, and welcome back to this Free for All Friday edition on Tuesday. Brian Fisher is my name. Great to have you in the conversation. 888-589-8840. By the way, you know that Barack Obama would like to leave troops in Afghanistan for another 10 years, and it's Hamid Karzai who is balking at the deal, and I frankly hope he refuses to sign it, because President Obama said, look, if you don't sign this deal, I'm going to have no choice but to bring my troops home. We need to bring them home. I brought you that story yesterday about this Marine shot dead by a 15-year-old dancing boy in the gym at a Marine base in Afghanistan because he was not allowed to carry arms on a military base. The only ones that were allowed to carry arms are the Afghans, and he was shot to death by a 15-year-old boy who was the object of a Muslim pedophile and the Muslim pedophile police chief gave him his AK-47, told him to go into this gym and waste as many Americans as you possibly can. We just got to get out of there. We're serving no useful purpose by being there that I can see. And now Karzai is saying to Obama, unless you release Afghanis from Gitmo, there's no way I'm signing that deal. So I'm hoping that Obama doesn't release any of these Gitmo Afghanis. Maybe he will. I hope he doesn't. And I hope that scotches the whole deal, because we just need to bring our boys home. 888-589-8840. Let's go to Sandra, Mechanicsville, Virginia. Sandra, of Mechanicsville, Virginia. Sandra, welcome. What's on your mind?
Well, I wanted to give you a couple of things that I am really thankful for.
Great.
I'm not going to say anything political because I just get too freaked out. But anyway, first of all, you said nothing fake. I am really, really, really seriously, thank God for AFA and AFR and your program, because if it wasn't for y'all, I would be politically ignorant. And seriously ignorant. And it just, as a matter of fact, I lead a small group at church on Monday, and last week I gave them for homework to listen to 1/2 hour of the news on AFR so they could actually get a grip on what was going on around here, because I think a lot of people just are feeling around in the dark. So my group is going to know something.
Good.
And also, this is kind of a small thing, and you probably take it for granted, but I am a senior and I don't work. I go to the grocery store, and I go to Kroger. I don't know if you can say the name, but it's a beautiful grocery store in Mechanicsville, new. And when I'm going around through that grocery store, sometimes I am just overwhelmed at the things that are in there. And the Lord just brings it to my mind that there are millions of people all over this world that will never, ever see the inside of a grocery store that looks anything like this. And I just believe that God has blessed us so much in this country that we can get in there. Maybe we can't afford everything that's in there, but we can sure go in there and pick out the things that we want. And this store is so big that you could do Christmas shopping in there. It's a real big blessing. So those are two things that I'm really thankful for. Not deep, heavy things, but just things that I'm thankful. And another thing, the last small thing, I thank God, seriously, for the mute button on my TV remote control. Because, I can't tell you how many times I've muted somebody or something and said, Lord, thank you for that mute button. You might be tired of hearing it, but I'm not kidding. It's a wonderful thing to me. And thank you for being here. I listen to you as often as I can. I'm right now sitting in my front yard in my car listening, because there's FM radio in my car, and it's a treat to be able to hear you telling the truth.
Well, fantastic, Sandra. Well, thank you so much. It's very kind of you, and you have a terrific Thanksgiving yourself. Thank you. That's Sandra in Mechanicsville, Virginia. And I've done some short-term mission trips. I worked with a missionary that translated the Bible into the Trio Indian language. They're almost on the border of Brazil in a country called Suriname, South America. It used to be Dutch Guiana. And Claude would bring up a couple of men from the village once a year to help him translate. He could speak their language. They couldn't speak English, but he could speak their language. They would speak to our church, and he would translate and all that. But, that was one of the things that just blew them away. When they would come to America, the supermarkets just absolutely blew them away. They just could not believe their eyes. It just absolutely, completely blew them away, because they have to go hunt for everything they eat. And yet here we can go to a supermarket and have an incredible array of choices. So like Sandra said, we have been enormously, richly blessed as a people. Well, let's go to Daniel in Gladware, Texas. I'm not sure I said that right. Daniel, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind?
Hey, great, Brian. Graywater, Texas.
Graywater, Texas. All right.
Graywater. We're about 110 miles east of Dallas, closer to Shreveport.
Okay.
Let me say a couple of things. First, what I'm thankful for is that I worship in the church that my pastor is not afraid to preach the Word of God. It's out there. If you got a problem with it, you got a problem with God, not a problem with him.
Good for him.
And it's a medium-sized independent Baptist church where we support almost 100 missionaries.
Wow.
All over the world. But anyway, my question to you is something that, I'm trying to get some interpretation on. It's the last chapter of the book of Revelation, and where it talks about that we add to or take away, our part in the book of life will be taken away.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does that mean that we can lose our salvation?
Well, and he's talking specifically about the book of Revelation. Anybody that tampers with the content of the book of Revelation, he's saying, well, there's some pretty serious consequences. Pretty serious consequences for doing that. And that gets into a discussion that we're probably going to need to save for another day, Daniel, because it's pretty lengthy. And the issue is whether it is possible for a believer to forfeit their salvation. I don't believe you can lose it, or the Bible teaches that you can lose it, like I had it here, like I had my car keys. Where'd they go? Right. I lost them. But the question is it possible for a believer to walk with Christ for a time, to have a genuine relationship with him, genuinely be saved, forgiven, covered by the blood of Christ, and then at some point go through some sort of experience where they turn their back on their faith and they reject Christ and don't want to have anything to do with him, and then forfeit the eternal salvation that was once theirs to claim. Now, that tends to be along the lines of what I see the Scriptures teaching. It doesn't matter what I think or what I believe. That's irrelevant because I'm not responsible for the content of the New Testament, but I am responsible to understand it as best I can. And I grew up in a tradition that really emphasized the security of the believer, the once saved, always saved. So I grew up believing that for the good part of my adult life. I respect people that hold that view. I understand why they hold that view. I'm familiar with the passages that they refer to. I would never want to try to talk anybody out of that point of view. I'd never criticize anybody for holding that point of view because I understand it and believed it for half of my life as well. So to me, I'm hoping that's the kind of an issue that we could have a friendly kind of discussion, and like you say, without kind of cutting other people off who may take a different view than we do. Right. But, kick it around, debate it, have an intramural discussion, and then allow everybody to kind of make up their mind about what they think is God is saying in the New Testament. And again, to me, just to kind of close the loop on that, Daniel, for me, the critical issue is what does the New Testament teach? It's not what does this Bible teacher teach or that Bible teacher, what do I think, but what does the New Testament itself teach about the issue of salvation? So anyway, we'll have a longer conversation about that sometime, Daniel. So
thank you, Brian. I really enjoy your program, and I hope God bless you for many years.
Great. Thank you very much, sir, and you have a terrific Thanksgiving yourself. Thank you. God bless you. Now, Rob, grab clip number 1. I want to squeeze this in, 888-589-8840. You probably heard this story about this lesbian waitress at a New Jersey restaurant, and she claims that a couple came in, they had a dinner, the tab was $93.55. And instead of leaving a tip in the tip line, they scratched it out and they left her a handwritten note, "Sorry, I cannot tip because I do not agree with your lifestyle and how you live your life." And the couple stiffed them, walked out. They paid for the dinner, but they didn't leave any tip because she was a lesbian. And this went viral. She had people all over the world sending her money. She got like $2,000, minimum of $2,000 came from people who donated to her because they felt bad and very upset and angry with the people that had done this to her. Now, it turns out that there was nothing to it. She made the whole thing up. She fabricated the thing. She invented the story. And I mentioned at the top of the first hour, there are so few hate crimes that are targeted against homosexuals. I'm not saying they don't exist at all. I'm not saying that. But there are so few of them that they have to be invented. Now, let's play clip number 1. This is on a local news station in the area there in New Jersey that investigated the story. And here's what they concluded. Let's listen.
It was days after that story aired that a Bridgewater couple noticed their copy of the bill looked remarkably like the one waitress Dana Morales posted online, except not only did they say they generously tipped her, but they never wrote that hateful message, and it's possible it was all made up.
When a New Jersey waitress said she was stiffed on a tip because of her lifestyle, the sympathy and the cash came pouring in.
I'm donating pretty much $3,000.
News 4 is one of many media outlets that reported on the former Marine's shocking and offensive story.
People are very ignorant. They should be ashamed of themselves for watching.
There was one couple who was watching and took those words to heart.
Don't think that way. Most tolerant people, I don't care what you do in your life, if you're a good person.
I sat down with a couple who asked we not show their faces. They told me it was their family who Morales served that night, and their customer copy of the check proves Morales' version of the story doesn't add up.
100% you know that's your check.
Yeah, I can actually tell it's my name under the fuzzed out name.
In fact, both copies of the check have the same date, timestamp, but the totals are different. The family says they left an $18 tip. They even provided News 4 their credit card statement showing those charges on their Visa.
All right, so there you have it. I mean, they had the credit card statement that showed the $18 tip, same time, same date, exactly the same receipt. You know, and you go into a restaurant, you get 2 or 3 receipts. I mean, I have no idea. You know, one of them is for the customer, you stick in your wallet. One of them is for the merchant. One of them is for the credit card company or something. But sometimes you get 2 or 3 receipts. And so you sign the one, you put the tip on it, and then that's the one you give back to the wait person. And then that still leaves one sitting there on the counter. You can take it home, put it in your wallet, and write in the tip if you want. And apparently this waitress or somebody, we don't know who, but took that extra receipt and scrawled in that homophobic message and then made a viral story. It was a complete lie. It was a total hoax. It was an utter and complete scam. There was no, in fact, the husband said, look, I didn't even vote for Chris Christie because I believe in same-sex marriage. Chris Christie is against same-sex marriage, so I didn't even vote for the guy. These are the furthest thing from what liberals would consider to be a homophobe. And it's just a reminder, remember Matthew Shepard. He is a martyr to the cause of homophobia. He was not killed by somebody who had homophobic impulses. He was killed by a homosexual lover over a drug deal gone bad, not a martyr to the cause of homophobia whatsoever. Focal Point AFR Talk. Stay with us. Back in 2.